5 years on this channel. Pandora ASMR. This will be my anniversary video where I answer some questions. There are, I think, over 40 questions on here that I've got from Patreon, Twitter, YouTube stories, which is the first time I ever used YouTube stories. Very proud. And YouTube community. So, there we go, got it up. I just got a Word document here. Also, I released a poll, as you may know, on, again, YouTube and Twitter, and also I mentioned on Patreon, as whether you wanted to hear my normal voice or like a relaxing voice. So I had a few people say that I should do a mixture. So currently I'm doing my soft-spoken voice, but it's a bit louder than usual, so this is kind of more what I would actually sound like. Also because everyone's asleep and I don't want to wake them up. But this is pretty much the loudest that my voice can get, although I'm a pretty loud person according to everyone else, and that's because apparently I don't realise I'm that loud because I can't hear myself that much. So yeah. Anyway, I just want to thank everybody again who watches, especially those who've been here for like 5 years. Whoa. Which is crazy and insane. 5 years is a very long time in my brain, and it's like the length of high school for me, so that's weird. And I started doing it when I was in college, so I was 17, yeah, and now I'm a 22-year-old lady. So started it before I was an adult, technically. Okay, there we go, approximately about 43, give or take. So the first one I'm going to answer is a load from Patreon. Again, I want to shout out to Patreon, so I'll shout you out towards the end. Honestly, you know about the YouTube algorithm is, and it's really difficult because I'm a student and also have to pay for a lot of other things. Any support is extremely helpful, and Patreon has been my lifeline sometimes. Sometimes I've been out of work. It's been the only thing that I can do. At the moment I've kind of got a job, but yeah, it can be difficult, so I really appreciate it, and the fact that I can do something that I enjoy and really love and get that support, that monetary support is beyond helpful. I'm beyond grateful, and I only wish I could put more towards it. Yeah, so thank you. So the first few questions are from Steve Lachlan. Thank you so much, you're amazing. First is, how did you go at school, or how was school for you? So primary school, hated it because the teachers were not good and it's a very cliquey environment. Went to a Catholic primary school, and in England you don't have to pay for religious education, but you know, my family happened to be Catholic, so we went to Catholic school. So I went to primary school, didn't really like it so much. I was that awkward introvert that kind of wrote in the corner and would write weird stories. Like, I made a story about Sweeney Todd. Told it from a perspective of somebody who married Sweeney Todd. I don't know really. It was a very strange book. All of my books when I wrote when I was younger were all symbolic and had omens that were common in the Victorian period. It was very nerdy and weird. So pretty good though. I worked really hard. I studied super hard. But I studied really hard for my GCSEs, which is like what you get when you're 16 in England. Then you go on to do college or A-levels. And I studied extremely hard. Only found out in A-levels that I was dyslexic and I should have got extra time. And that's why it was really hard in certain aspects. But I got A's and A stars. I got 1 B. That was in geography. which I thought I would have found more interesting, but I didn't. We talked about soil for like a month. Yeah, sorry for all the geologists out there who like soil. Okay, have you lived in the same area all your life, or have you moved around? So, lived in the same area, in around Manchester, neck of the woods, and then moved over to Yorkshire. Been there for like 4 years, so it's been a while. About 4 years now, yeah. Moved over in university in 2015. And are you where you wanted or expected to be after school? Oh, definitely, yeah. In school, I would instill this idea that if I didn't study hard, then I would, I don't know, be in a really bad, flat, miserable. I would have married an abusive alcoholic. Yeah, I kind of instilled fear into my mind and told myself that I'd be stuck here forever. Yeah, not great. And that worked, and I studied super hard. So I think I didn't expect to go to university. I wanted to, but I didn't think I would. I also didn't know I wanted to study archaeology. I didn't even know that you could until I was applying, and then I was like, that's perfect for me. Originally, I was going to do medicine, mostly because I wanted to become a pathologist, which you might have seen if you looked at my previous videos. But yeah, I wanted to become a pathologist, found out that you need to go to medical school before you do that. And so I was like, okay, there you go, that's what I'll do. I think the thing was, I worked so hard and I thought, well, I'll just do A-levels that are really hard and I'll just keep pushing myself. Yeah, that didn't really work, and I kind of had a bit of a breakdown in college, realising how much more difficult it was at GCSE. But I somehow, even though I had a lot of issues in college, self-esteem issues, I had depression, even though I didn't realise that was what it was called. I kept saying, oh, it's not depression, it's like anhedonia, it's like, everyone has this, right? No. But then, after going to university, I got myself out of the rut, and my life has been happy since. I mean, it's been like stressful, but not that same feeling of being underwater and being submerged, and feeling absolutely no pleasure out of things. At least that's what it was like for me, and everything was exhausting. So yeah, I'm glad I'm not in that state anymore. That was quite a long period of life. Okay, so where and how did you meet your husband and how long have you been married? Okay, so obviously I'm married. I got this from Canada, which is why the first video you see with me in, I was in Toronto at the time because I bought it in Canada. Woo! And it wasn't expensive because it was 12 Canadian dollars because I'm cheap. I don't see the reason for spending loads of money. I mean, silver's silver, but yeah. We met in university. All the friends that I have are from university, pretty much. All of us have known each other like for the same amount of time. So yeah, we met after. I've never dated anybody before that. He'd never dated anybody before that either, and he, was a student on a student visa from the United States. So that was really cool. Just recently, I'd been to America, went to Disneyland, hated it, so I had something to talk about. It was nice, and we got along like a house on fire, and both of us were like, by the way, sorry about the cars. Both of us were like, well, mentally, we were thinking, well, never been in a relationship, may as well just go for it, and yeah. So after a few awkward, not dates, got asked out, and yeah, I've been was dating for a few years, and then got married last year in May, and currently in the process of applying for a visa, marriage visa, which is why I've been short on cash, is why I've been a bit stressed, because, you don't know whether it's gonna come through, whether it's gonna work or not. And yeah, so I'm waiting on that, and I'm going back to America. This is why I go to America so much, it's because we're usually away from each other for 3 or 4 months, and it's nice to go and break up that away time, because long distance relationships are really tough, and if you're in one, I am so sorry, but it is so worth it, because when you're together, it's just so much happier, it's great. So yeah, we've been married since May last year, so a year and 3 months, a year and 3 months, maybe a bit less than that, maybe a year and 2 and a bit, whatever. And then future travel plans. Okay, so I'm going to New York in 3 weeks again. Yeah, don't tell him, it's a secret. I'm surprising him. He doesn't know I'm coming. Yay. I'm going in 3 weeks, and that's again because that's probably when the visa's coming in. Oof, stressy McStressy. I think also I've been stressed about it for such a long time that I've kind of become a bit like kind of stabilized. And I'm just like, what happened. If I moved to America, I moved to America. Anyway, I should stop talking about this. Yeah, but our future plans, I wanted to go to Japan next year, but it depends on money. If money wasn't an object, I would probably go everywhere. I said, do you want to travel to Australia, Asia? So yeah, Japan, also Australia, also New Zealand. It's beautiful, obviously. Yeah, Korea as well. I also want to see Estonia and Poland, and I also want to see more of my own country, because I haven't seen much of my own country. I've seen a bit, but it'd be nice to get a car and be able to actually see as much as I can. Maybe go on some walking routes. Yeah. Okay, so thank you, Steve. You're great. And great questions. So the next one is Tony Sanson. What got you interested in your degree? Archaeology, was it? Yes, it is archaeology. I have a Bachelor of Science in archaeology, and I'm getting a master's in it too. Yay! So, what got me interested? So I've always liked history, and I didn't realise I kind of wanted to do it because I thought out of all the options, it looked like the most interesting for me. But I kind of went into it a little bit blind. But I went into it knowing that I was interested, but I was terrified. What if I did it and I didn't like it? But luckily enough, I got in on the first day. I met loads of people who were exactly like me. It was crazy. It was weird. I was very lucky. And what got me interested was the fact that we can learn more about humanity, about shared identity, bring people together, and just learn so much more about what makes us human and make us kind of respect one another. And we need to learn history so that people in the future don't change that history. Which is why in a lot of my videos, I can't speak. A lot of my videos I do reference and mention that. I feel like a bit, at least. And I think it's a very important point, because a lot of politicians don't learn from history. They don't learn history at all. And they don't understand how then it's important to learn in order to not make the same mistakes. Yeah, but people seem to disregard it and think that it's not important. And particularly archaeology, because it shows not only the people who wrote history, which is usually the victors and the rich and men. Yeah. But also it shows, well, the identity of everyone, because it's through what people left behind, skeletal remains. It's through everything really that we find. So buildings, and that, although there can be problems with interpretation, it's still so good, because we get to learn so much more than if we're just reading what somebody wrote, which can have more biases than you can imagine. And they could just make it up, to be fair. And so, absolute favourite movie of all time, like one where you can watch over and over and not begin to hate it. Oh my goodness. Oh, so many. Okay. I don't know why, but there's some movies that I get really in the mood for watching. So one of them is The Thing, John Carpenter's The Thing. Another one I also like. I like anything where people are in an enclosed space and it's like a sociology thing. So like you're trying to see how societies and people interact, where they all have different personality types, and seeing them kind of interact with one another. Especially The Thing, which is basically about, you know, an alien that takes on human form. Oh god, it takes on human form and there's a lot of mistrust. So I like anything like that. Also Alien. Absolutely love Alien. American Werewolf in London, which I made a movie. Why do I keep saying movie? I made a video which referenced that in my werewolf video. I can watch and watch and watch and watch and watch and watch. I don't know why. I don't know. Another one that used to be my favourite, but I haven't watched in a while, is Clockwork Orange. I tend to go through phases of movies I really like and then leave. Oh yeah, Brazil, which most people haven't heard of. If you've ever heard of Terry Gilliam, he did work with Monty Python a lot. He also did Barry Munchausen and a few Time Bandits. He did Brazil. Brazil's kind of like 1984, but like happier and kind of more modern. It's less post-war and it's more kind of modern perspective, I suppose. It is a little bit weird because it's Terry Gilliam. It's to be expected, but it's really good. I like it. Most people don't. Okay, what's your favourite trigger? So it depends. What got me into this to begin with was actually a Miss ASMR spa video, and the way that she talked was super relaxing, mega relaxing. She has this, I think accents are my biggest trigger. Yeah, so she has this beautiful accent. She's from Armenia and it's so wonderful. And also like the mouth sounds, not really obvious ones, just little ones. I don't know, really relaxed me. And also hair brushing, but more in real life. So they're my major ones. My favourite OG artist. Oh my goodness, it's difficult. So when I started, it was Heather Feather. It was Ali from ASMR Requests, and obviously Gentle Whispering. They're still close to my heart, so I just wish that we saw more of Ali and Heather, because they are like the goddesses that shined upon ASMR. They're beautiful. But so they're kind of the ones that majorly they are, especially Heather Feather. She really inspired me, not just because her name is the same, but also because of what she could do and the videos and the creativity that she had and the world building as well. Like, I want to do that, you know, I want to develop this world. And I remember I saw a comment and it made me really happy. It was like, it basically linked all my roleplays together and made them like, and kind of put them all together on one timeline, if that makes sense. And someone was kind of like saying, oh yeah, actually, since the squatter video, everyone in the roleplay has been dead. Ooh, this is just purgatory or something like that. And I was like, that's great. That, you know, you thought of that. And yeah, I've always loved world building, creating a bigger thing around the video and giving it kind of an extra level. But yeah, my favourite new ASMR artist. Oh my goodness. Okay. Listening to a lot of ASMR shortbread, quite a few. She's like up and coming and really cool. Yeah, I recommend her. And anyone you'd really like to collab with, okay, her, she's really cool. Also, Goodnight Moon, can't speak. Any of the OG ASMR creators. as well. Also White Rabbit ASMR and I can't remember her name, that's so embarrassing. I do have a name. I just read, yeah. But yes, there's quite a few I'd like to collab with. I'll tell you when I remember, I'm sorry. And would you want to, yeah, I'd love to collab. How did the Lo-Fi song collab come about? Oh yeah, there is a song which I'd recommend listening to. It's on Twitter page. And basically it's a combination of the train video that I made in Yorkshire, and somebody put it to some really beautiful like song. It's worth checking out. It's by the Golden Pip and it's on Twitter. It's really cool that it exists. Definitely recommend checking that out though. It's really nice and relaxing. Good sound balance. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? Probably live somewhere in the Cotswolds. Somewhere with a nice community, I think is what I want, you know? I can't really think of anywhere else right now. Yeah, that's all I can think of. Right side or left side of the bed? Middle, I guess. Oh wait, I sleep on my right side. If I sleep on the other side, it feels weird, but yeah. And favourite movie genre? Found out that apparently I hate horror because it's too repetitive. I do like it, elements of it, but a lot of American horror, very repetitive. I like drama and I like sci-fi. I think that's the one I like the most. Any advice for looking to move to the UK? Bonus, how's the weather? Very cold at the moment actually. Like 50 degrees Fahrenheit, or I don't know what that is in Celsius. 14, yeah. I've been converting everything to Fahrenheit. It's exhausting. But yeah, it's quite cold for August. It should be a bit hotter than that. And any advice to moving? Well, like I said, my husband's moving over. I'll tell you how that goes. Yeah, you have to get. It's time consuming and it's really challenging dealing with immigration in the UK. You have to have a firm job behind you, basically, that will allow you to transfer, or you need a good reference in the UK. Yeah, that's what I recommend. But again, I don't know as much. But yeah, we took the other route. And Jeffrey Lowe said, favourite dinosaur? I really like the Ichthyosaurus, specific. I really like dinosaurs in the sea. That doesn't narrow it down. And also trilobites, which I have. Correction, I like ammonites. That's what I meant. And you can find this on the coastline in the UK. We don't have many dinosaurs, and what we do, they're in Isle of Wight, but we do have things from like the sea and stuff. And this is a trilobite. Not trilobite, this is an ammonite. God, I'm tired. Like cool snail-looking things you see. And this is a coat of arms for Whitby, which is like it's where Dracula was written, kind of set. It's a beautiful seaside town. I love that place so much. Just walk along the West Cliff and find fossils. Amazing. I found one myself. This isn't one I found, but what I found is university at the moment. And then on to Twitter. Squadron322, why did you want to make ASMR videos? So I wanted to make it because, like I said, the kind of world building, creativity, roleplay aspect was pretty much the main drive, even though it took me a while to get comfortable to do that. My first proper one that was an audio, I think, was the Terminator video. I felt very awkward, like I liked doing it, but I was so new to it. I'm so glad that I'm so much more comfortable in front of the camera. And YouTube stories, these are the ones got from there. sorry, stomach. Atomic Blue Chan, what spawned interest in ASMR, particularly roleplay. Like I said, it's the watching Heather Feather really inspired me and others at the time. John Gender, what's your favourite trigger? As I've said before, it's usually like hair brushing or again like mouth sounds and accents. Okay, and yeah, Liz asked for the story about how I met my husband, which I kind of answered. Thanks for asking, it's so sweet. And if you could go in time and see any time, like your video series, what would it be and what would you do? Oh, I've had this a couple times. First of all, I would get every known vaccination. I mean, if we're going to completely ignore the fact that I could get ill and I won't be able to deal with the air around me, probably back to the Victorian period, to where I come from, and also just travel around England, maybe travel around in the first part of the Industrial Revolution in a canal boat or canal barge. That would be really interesting, and before then probably the medieval period, late medieval period. Also I'd like to see, I got a long list, I'd like to see Spain during the Islamic kind of revolution. That was a really interesting time, especially around Al-Andalus. Really beautiful architecture. So this one. NG Monaco said, if you had 3 wishes, what would it be? Also, happy 5-year anniversary. Thank you. So 3 wishes. I would really like. Okay, mine are really boring. I really like stability. To have like a car, to have some kind of money coming in, and to be. That's my first one. Second one is have a job that I actually have a job and go in a career that I can advance in, that I'm really passionate about, and be able to do something creative in the work that I have. And 3 is to be able to live with my husband. What a weird thought, UK government, but yeah. For us to be able to live together is the number 1 wish. Yeah. Okay, and Genius's head of production said, do you have any interest in acting outside of your videos? So I did drama in school, was alright in it. I believe I took it as a GCSE. I've always wanted to when I was younger, then I dropped it for a while to do what I'm doing now in archaeology and heritage, and then I kind of ended up picking it up, I guess, by doing YouTube in a way, and it's definitely improved my confidence in front of a camera. I think it's improved my acting skills, but I'm not still as good as I would like to be. I would like to be able to do more accents. To cry on a cue has been my biggest weakness. And yeah, so I would like to do it, yeah. Just don't know how to get into acting really, fully. And then Shinji said, how much time does it take to prepare for your themed historical roleplays, and how fun is it to do so? Okay, so I have down there a notebook, and I also have a load of books. So I go off a lot of books. I have some. So I have some books here. They sometimes use. So some of these, actually, a lot of these from when I was a kid. Books on like ancient mythology, as well as like people in history. And also, I'll go down there. Books on ghosts, paranormal, folklore stories as well. So I do a bit of reading. Also go on Google a lot. Find an idea that might click clicks, or I find a way that I can make it relaxing, or make it into something more, or maybe make it into like a bigger world. What also inspires a lot of what I do is, sadly she doesn't make videos anymore, but her name is Claire Delay, and I've watched her for years and years, and she did these amazing makeup tutorials on the zodiac signs, on the 4 horsemen, on the 3 fates, on different mythology and different emotions, and it just, I don't know what it was, but everything about what she did inspired me, and I wanted to do things like her. And a lot of what I do is very much inspired by that. The Owl Queen video, she did a Bird Queen or video, and I managed to kind of mimic some of the makeup, and she was a big inspiration, definitely, and still is. So yeah, it takes me a while to prepare them, and once I have an inspiration, things that inspire me, I get really into it, and I think, okay, what do I have? Sometimes I have to buy things. A lot of the time I go to, if I'm at home, I will go, and my parents have a lot of cool stuff, so I usually use them as props, which works pretty well. So yeah, sometimes it could take like a day, sometimes a bit longer, depends. Are you into tabletop role-playing games like Dungeons and Dragons? Okay, so my friends are into D&D. I've played it a few times and absolutely love it, and it's just finding the time to do it, but I really like it. I really like the ability to be really silly and over the top and do really stupid stuff and just play around. I don't do it like seriously or competitively. Just really fun with a group of friends, so I do. And beer or wine? Beer. Yeah, I'd say beer. I've tried a lot more beer than wine though, to be fair, but I would say beer. Good, and then the next one is Molded Salad said, if you can go back in time to meet your younger self, what one piece of advice would you give them? Okay, so my younger self kind of, I look back at what I did when I was younger and I understand why I did it, and I don't really feel, there's some things I wish I was kinder on myself, really do, but it makes sense why I felt that way. So for the longest time, I had a lot of issues with body confidence, which is fun. I hated everything about how I looked. I hated literally everything. And yeah, so I hated, particularly my body. And I went on this really big diet in like 2011 and lost a ton of weight, and it looked pretty good. I looked good, but I was obsessed over it. It was consumed me a lot of the time, and I would count everything. Oh my god! I'd tell them not to count calories, just eat what you know is healthy. And yeah, then I got IBS when I was in college due to stress, and then that made me feel really bad, mentally and physically, and it basically, I went down the deep end. I ate loads of food and crap, and then I've been trying to get back from that since then, which was about 4 years ago. I have much more of a healthy concept of eating and food than I used to. I used to see it as a treat, if that makes sense, which is ridiculous. Never do that. Never see that you have to work towards food, or food is like work towards, I can have that one apple a day. I'm so excited to get home and eat. It's unhealthy. Just occupy your mind with something more than food. There's so much more in life than that, But yeah, so go back and tell myself that. And do you still... And then Judges 8475 said, do you still have the Spider-Man comic collection? Okay, so the comic collection is my dad's, and yes, he still has it, and it's upstairs in the attic, and I like reading it every so often. It's so cool. I watched, and the next question is MCU movies. So I'm really behind. favourite superhero is Spider-Man, so I will watch Spider-Man things. But, I don't know, there's just too many and I'm too tired and I don't want to keep up. I watch it though. If it was on, I would definitely be into watching it. I'm just not like into it. And what are some of your faves if so? Spider-Man 1, 2 and 3, but then no, that's not in the MCU. Homecoming. It's really good. I really liked Avengers when it came out, but it's not as good on second watching. Yeah, there's probably more. My brain has gone blank. Oh, and what and Pierre-Luc said, what are some of the inspirations that make you go forward in your life and your video creations? Inspirations. So, like I said before, the YouTuber that I watch. Also, I ask. My husband is from America, so he knows a lot, kind of more stuff, especially like different kinds of folklore and stories, local stories. I also ask my family and my friends for any tips. For example, Wolver was a recommendation from my Scottish friend. And yeah, so it really comes from a lot of people and also from comments. I swear I cannot think of this alone. I need like inspiration, otherwise my brain will be exhausted, and everyone needs inspiration from different sources, We're all standing on the shoulder of giants and, developing things of other people and becoming, greater people and greater things. And so yeah, and Al dente, I said, what is your thought process for your videos? Do you only stick to topics you personally like, or do you experiment? I've been experimenting a bit recently, but most things I make have to like I said, click with me. I have to think, oh, that's the angle I can go at it on, if that makes sense. If I make something that doesn't click, it will just feel lackluster. I won't get into it. But like some videos especially, I'm so proud and I'm so happy because I managed to bring this stupid thing in my brain, this thing that I'm really into, I managed to bring it alive, Like I especially am so proud of the illegal series, even the dystopian, especially the first one, and the Mad Scientist one. How it all came together, I'm just so happy. And then some I don't think will be that popular, but they are. I quite liked and put time into, but I thought, nah, it's not going to go anywhere. And they're really popular, so yeah. So sometimes I do stick to topics I usually like, or they have to click with me, but I do try new things, I would think. What kind of fiction do you enjoy? So most of the fiction I enjoy is, I haven't read in a while. I like anything that is kind of an unreliable narrator, or I like things which are kind of a commentary, like a social commentary. They're quite good. And like anything that comments on the issues today, and so I like a lot of fantasy, like dystopian fantasy, that is very much reflective of what our lives are like today and can be very foreboding in ways. And I don't know why I find that particularly interesting, but also I really like science fiction, especially Victorian science fiction. Okay. Sorry about that, my SD card ran out of memory because I was talking for too long. Yay. Anyway, next one is Throwaway ASMR, and they said, have you considered playing tabletop games? Wow, everyone thinks I do D&D. This is great. I love it. Or writing short stories. So yeah, I used to write short stories. And it's very funny reading them now because it really reflects how I felt at the time. I love reading them, you know? It's nice looking back and seeing how I felt and how those emotions were portrayed, and even reading some of it, I'm still like, yeah, I still get that. It's still really cool, even though it's cringy and written weirdly. Yeah, it's still really good. But yeah, I've wanted to write for a while, but I think it's because of university. You already have to write so much. It's hard getting out of that, like, that non-fiction headspace, you know, and becoming creative with writing. But it's something I would like to do in the future and build upon. I feel like I've got something in there, like everyone's got something, like a story, that maybe I could, you know, that I tell through videos, but maybe I could put it onto paper. I don't know. And then just Matt said, how do you come up with ideas for roleplays for the steampunk scientist who wore the world? Steampunk scientist came from an idea that I had that I wanted to make a series set in a historical period. I wanted it to be somewhat related to the 7 Deadly Sins. So I thought that it could be this scientist creating a doll, which is from Dolls in New Albion, so I copied that idea, oops. And they would have to go through the 7 sins to see if they were mentally capable of becoming assistant, becoming a full doll, if they could cope with the different temptations. So yeah, I thought that would be really cool, and also I used my grandma's living room, which has a beautiful fireplace, and that has been in so many of my videos because it's so pretty. And yeah, so I guess, and the World Walls thing, I was reading the book, I was listening to the soundtrack, the Jeff Wayne soundtrack, and I wanted to make another steampunk video, but I didn't want to just continue what I had already. I didn't know what to go after that, so I was like, this could be a new take on it, you know. So I thought, okay, cool, I'll just do like a scientist, essentially kind of being like the narrator in War of the Worlds, and completely geek out, which I did. So usually it comes from movies, again, like I said, books, or other videos. I make a lot of videos that I try to mention, oh, this was inspired by, you know, Angelica, Shortbread, this was inspired by the power of sound, and so on. So, and JLo said, what is your favourite prop that you reuse again and again in different videos? So I have candles that I reuse since I started. I used to make short films, and I used to make them with my friends when I was 14, I think I was. So I bought these candles because apparently we were making a scene with a cult in it. I even hand-stitched a pentagram. It took forever, but we never used it. It really annoyed me. So I was like, great, I spent money on candles, on these big pillar candles. It wasn't much, but it annoyed me. But I've used them like all the time since then. Things like candles, they're really cheap and they can look really nice. Those goggles, which you've all seen, that lab coat, I've got a lot of use out of that. Okay. And the next is Remus Lupin. I like the name. Do you have plans for after your degree is finished? So, current plans, I'm not worrying about it now, I have enough stuff to be concerned about, but apply for graduate schemes. I want to work as a conservation officer in the local council. I want to do something related to conservation work, so the second portion of my degree will focus on practical methods of conservation, conserving buildings. So I want to do something like that, something that is a little bit more reliable than if I worked in museums. It is incredibly difficult to get into the museum sector. It's incredibly insular. Just to warn anybody who's interested, at least in the UK, it can be extremely challenging, and it's very unreliable pay and reliable position. So I'm trying to look for something that's a little bit more grounded. but I've always been really flexible. I've never had a particular career goal in mind. I've always been like, well, I'll just follow what I like, and that should get me somewhere. And it's got me pretty far, and I'm pretty happy with where I am. So I'm just flexible. I never have had a clear, yes, I'll definitely do that. If not, then, life's over. Okay. And do you write a script for role plays, or do you just wing it? I just wing it. If I write a script, it won't go as well. I will be robotic. I don't know. I like it just being free-flowing, and then I can think of stuff as I'm doing it, which is really fun. And which video on your channel was your favourite to make? So, a lot of them. A lot. Most of the roleplay actually talk so much that 2 batteries have died and my SD cards are full. There we go. Anyway, yeah, the next question, again my room is looping, is do you write a script for your roleplays, or do you have a general idea of what you're going to do and just wing it? I just wing it, really. If I write a script, and I've done it before, I did it for the Terminator video, it feels robotic, there's a pun, so I feel, yeah, no, I can't do that. I have to kind of just go with it, really, feel for it, if that makes sense. And sometimes I can think of, if I'm in a good mood, if I'm in the right mood and I'm really into it, I can think of some really cool stuff on the spot that would reflect the character in the situation. So I would like to think that I'm fairly okay at winging it. But yeah, I know some people have to go for script, and I completely get that, but that takes a lot of time and never works for me. Yeah, I mean, I use it for when I'm doing meditation videos, and I use it for when I am like making the ghost story videos, which you'll see soon, or will have seen. It's a bit easier to get the facts straight, because I have a horrendous memory, which is again a reason why I don't follow scripts, is that I have really bad memory. Oof, this is why I had to work hard in studying, because it just goes in and then whoop. But I have methods of remembering. And yeah, which video on your channel was your favourite to make? Favourite to make. I like a lot of the outdoor videos, a lot, because then I can go out and like make a day out of it. So what I usually do is I go on a day trip with usually I drag my husband into it, and he quite likes it. He quite likes going on day trips. Go to some nice places, just Scarborough. And sometimes when we go on holiday, I also film there. Filmed in Canada, the US, and around Europe. And so, yeah, that's my favourite part, is travelling for it. And so I like my videos where I'm outside, but I also really like the videos that just click and they work. Like, they've said a few things and they just make sense, and it all flows well, and it all just works and falls into place. Like, I'm really proud of the mind control one, the dystopian one. I've made a new one, which I don't know when it's coming out, but it should come out relatively soon. I'm really proud of that. And yeah, there's a few others too, but yeah, so I also like the steampunk series. To be honest, most of my role plays I'm really proud of. Some didn't hit as much as I would like them to do, but yeah, some I really like. Oh yeah, then there's the Devil Circus series. Oh, I love making those. Got a series I'm trying to bring back more. And oh yes, the puppet one. I used my dad's puppets from the 1950s and 1960s. Sorry. And I used a lot of props that I had when I was a kid. A lot of things that I played with when I was a kid. That was really fun. Oh, yeah. So, oh god, I can't. Just a lot of them. That's all you need to know. I could talk for a long time. Too long for this memory card to cope with on my computer's memory. And yeah, then there's Magnus. He said he hadn't heard from me in a while. He did this beautiful pointillism drawing of me in one of my steampunk videos. I don't think it's on his account anymore, but it was beautiful. Are you planning on doing some more travel videos like you did with your Iceland trip? If so, where would you go? So I have the Interrail videos. They're all like backed up. I need to fix one of them, but they're all there. There's about 3 of them, and then I made, I think, 2 that like other types of videos during the travel. So yeah, that was going across Europe, so you'll be able to see some of that. And I'm really proud of the Iceland videos because it was just such beautiful scenery, and I'm glad that I managed to capture at least part of that. And then yeah, I hopefully will be going travelling next year and bringing you all with me. And are you tempted on making a trip to Burgundy and sip some wine? Definitely. I did say earlier I like beer more than wine, but I do like wine tasting it because it's free and because I really like red wine, so I'd be really up for that. Oh, okay. So I finished the questions and my camera is tired, and so am I because it's 2 in the morning. But I hope you liked this long video. I don't really know whether this counts as normal voice or soft-spoken or ASMR, but either way, I hope you like my weird ramblings. I could talk for an insane amount of time. I talk way too much about certain things, but I get really passionate about the things that I make, the series, and seeing your feedback about it, seeing that you kind of think the same way and like the same things and kind of get it, and it's so cool that you get it as well as me getting it. So I'm not the only weird person here, because I have a lot of strange tastes, and you can see that in what I make. And I'm glad that I've freaked too many people out with what I make, because it can get weird sometimes, very weird. But thank you for indulging my bizarre brain for being weird, yeah. And thank you for sticking around for 5 years. Oh, 5 years, wow. And yeah, thank you for subscribing and supporting, and thank you for being on Patreon and being amazing and helping me there too. Again, I am beyond grateful for that, because it lets me do what I do, give time into it, because I'm so busy, and it kind of justifies that time and helps me with that time. Also, thank you this year for the supporters who managed to get me my Canon EOS, because my other camera broke. I would have been ruined without that. Again, and so thank you so much. This is a beautiful camera and I love it with all my heart. So thank you. Okay. So, in order, I just want to say thank you to Apollo, Beoha, Bryn, Dan, David Hunter, Dion, Drew Switzer, Fadiagat, Jack Smith, Jeffrey Lowe, Jan, John McGeady, Joshua M. Murphy, Keith Carrick, Clopix, Lukey, Mark Pollock, Mass Observer, Michael J, Michael Potter, Misha, Objective Advocate, Patrick Moffat, Ross, Shy Piggy, Stefan, Steve Lachlan, Stephen Nutter, Taylor Klein, That Really Poor Asian College Kid, and finally Tony Sanson. All of you are incredible and you help me in so many ways. I'm so grateful and thank you so much. Thank you for letting me make stuff. Thank you all for watching, and I can't wait for another year. Thank you. I love you all,